And joining me now on the set is international affairs commentator Doug Herbert. We've heard so much, Doug, about these promises to be inclusive. We've already heard that women won't be in these top spots. How inclusive will it be?
Well, look, we all probably have, say, very differing definitions of what inclusive means. If you're a Taliban leader and talking about inclusivity, or whether you're a Western leader looking in from the outside, hoping for a government that really does represent a broad and diverse range of views, genders, ethnic and religious minorities. So inclusivity is really in the eye of the speaker, so to speak. But look, the Taliban definitely is cognizant of the fact that the West has its vision of inclusivity, and they need the money, obviously, unlocked funds from the West. They are going to want to at least give a nod to inclusivity. What does that mean? Look, they are going to stack this government with their own people, with the Taliban faithful, those who have both fought with them on the ground, who have been the foot soldiers for their cause, the ideological foot soldiers. They're not going to take any chances on that. So, there are talks of having sort of at the very top of the pyramid sort of maybe a supreme leader style figurehead. And one of the people being touted for that is Akhundzada, who has been present, a mullah who's been present in Kandahar, the birthplace of the Taliban, in recent days and weeks, according to reports. And then under him, perhaps a president or a sort of head of government figure. That could be perhaps the son of the Taliban founder, who was Mullah Omar. The son is still there for symbolic, impetus that could perhaps bring a lot to this new government in terms of inspiration. And also perhaps some of the members of the Haqqani network, which, let's not forget, Haqqani network, longstanding allies of the Taliban, based in that rugged mountainous area of eastern Afghanistan, but also very controversial, to say the least, blamed for some of the worst attacks in Kabul, terrorist attacks in Kabul in recent years, masterminds of those attacks. So this is a network whose, if one of their members was in the government, would come with a hard terrorism label, not a soft terrorism label. Beyond that, what might they do to show the West we do mean it when we talk about inclusivity? Maybe take on board some of the minorities in Afghanistan. There's a large Tajik minority. There are Uzbeks in the north of Uzbekistan as well. And we always talk about the Hazara Shia minority, one of the most brutally and worst persecuted minorities in the country, especially under the last Taliban rule from 96 to 2001. So you can probably expect some nods in that direction to try to send a signal. You see, we meant it when we said we were going to be inclusive. But as far as taking on people who really dare to disagree with them on an ideological level, let alone having, say, a woman in the cabinet representing, women's rights. I think that would be the stuff of pie-in-the-sky fantasy at this point. But look, maybe the Taliban will surprise us, at least it's in its initial stages. But my guess would be they're going to go with a safe, conservative, Taliban-only government with perhaps a sprinkling of non-threatening minorities to show that they meant it by inclusivity.
Well, the Taliban's tried to put forth this image of being unified. First of all, is that a reality? And how might that affect their ability to govern?
Yeah, their ability to govern, look, and rebel insurgencies, when they come to power, they have all sorts of complexions depending on sort of their level of acceptability in the country itself and how well they live up to their promises. One of the things that the Afghan population, we've said again and again, they are weary. They are fed up with years and decades of war. Many Afghans, they don't love the Taliban, but they will welcome the Taliban if the Taliban is able to deliver at least on a sense of decorum and security and stability in the country that has been so elusive in the past years under the Afghan government and the now fled president Ashraf Ghani. So they will be looking for that. If, just to begin, the Taliban can start to deliver on that stability, even at the cost of some violence and brutality, my guess is a lot of Afghans will almost be willing to accept that. But as we've seen, there's already the roots and the shoots of uprisings and discontent. We saw the women in the recent days marching and protesting in Herat, a big city in Afghanistan, now under Taliban control, of course, showing we are taking you at your word when you say you're going to respect women's rights, especially with regard to the workplace. The fact that they're ready to defy the Taliban before they've even appointed a government suggests that a lot of Afghans might not be inclined to just acquiesce with anything and throw their hands up. So this will be a Taliban government which, if it does want to resort to the tactics of the past, the brutality, the atrocities that marked its rule of the past from 1996 to 2001, it is going to do it with a nation that is much more savvy, that has a lot more access to news, that has access to the internet in many cases, especially in the cities, and has changed over the past 20 years and expects a little bit more, even if it's an Afghan version of it, but democracy and freedom and ability to move around as you wish and to live life as you wish. So it's going to be very difficult for them to govern if they want to avoid the authoritarian trap, which is always obviously a distinct possibility, authoritarian and brutality.
Okay, Doug Herbert, our international affairs commentator. Doug,